I have been following your movements for a while now, and I'm just really happy to be here with you today.
That's so crazy to me because I've been following you.
Happy Black History Month, and you are making history.
The winner of the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble match, the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair.
What does the accomplishment of being the first Black woman to win the Royal Rumble mean to you?
I had no idea that I was the first African-American woman to win and the second African-American to win until I got backstage. I was so honored, but the one thing that I pulled away from that was, you know, just by staying true to myself and going out there and trying to accomplish my goal, accomplishing something that I wanted to accomplish, I made history without even trying to make history.
The future is so bright for Bianca Belair.
What is it like being one of the only few African-American women in the WWE?
The one thing for me, it's always important to represent. I became a gymnast because of Dominique Dawes. I started running track because of FloJo. I became a hurdler because of Gail Devers. So I am where I am now because I saw myself in those women and I knew that it was possible for me. And so it's an amazing feeling to now be in WWE, be one of the African-American women that showcases representation, and I can give back to others what my role models did for me.
I got the opportunity to watch your documentary. And you are very open about talking about mental health, which I think is so critical and so important in these times. And you mentioned about you had some struggles in your adolescence. How does that define you today?
I think I'm a lot more comfortable with talking about it because I have made it through. I feel like if I had someone during that time that I felt like I could relate to, that would help me feel more comfortable and not feel ashamed, I could have gotten help a whole lot quicker. I just don't want people to feel ashamed. There's nothing to feel ashamed about.
Why is your journey into self-love so unique and important to you?
A point in time in my life, I feel like my identity was, I didn't know my identity. My name really wasn't even Bianca. I was a hurdler. And once that crashed and burned and I wasn't running fast and I wasn't a hurdler anymore, I had, you know, and I was 18 years old and mentally, it's just, I didn't know how to handle this identity crisis that I was having. And I didn't even know how to love myself because I didn't know who I was. And, you know, once I figured out who I was, knowing that you do what you do, but it's not who you are. Like even now, like I wrestle, that's what I do, but it's not who I am. It's a part of who I am, but it's not, I'm more than that.
What does it mean to be unapologetically you? You're holding up my book, we're talking about self-love. What does this all mean?
Listen, when reading your book, I highlighted the whole book because I felt like I was reading like my thoughts, and I felt like, you know, it was so relatable, and I still live by like so many quotes from your book. But being unapologetically you, being unapologetically me, it means, you know, knowing where I come from, knowing that I come from something, knowing my worth, and not apologizing for it.
You talked about representation, and I am all about representation. I think it's so important. But why is representation critical for you and just within the WWE?
In a time where, you know, women and women of color were a lot of times, you know, forced to be in this little box. And sometimes we even put that pressure on ourselves. We feel like we have to be in this little box in order to be relatable to everyone, or there's little pieces of ourselves that we feel like we kind of have to hide when we're in certain environments in order to be accepted or be viewed a certain way. And I just want to be representation, showing that, no, I'm not going to be put in a box. I want to present myself as a whole. I don't want to have to pick a piece of myself to present so that people don't just place me in a box or write me off.
You design your own outfits. Can you tell us like how that even came about?
Yeah, so I've been like making clothes since I was a little girl. My mom had the little, you know, the little tin cookie jar.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, the blue one.
Hers had needles and thread. And I used to just go in there and I used to sew pillowcases together. I just was sewing, and I've just always been into just fashion and designing clothes and CrossFit. I was making tutus and I was wearing big old bows and I was making all of my clothes. And that's actually what got me discovered by Mark Henry, who's a Hall of Famer in WWE now. He's the one that contacted me and was like, have you ever thought about being a WWE wrestler? Like, I can get you a tryout, but you have to get yourself hired. And so once I got into WWE, I'm like, well, making my own clothes in my own outfits is what got me here. I have this extra pressure on me, and I've kind of, you know, conditioned fans to think that every time I come out, I'm going to have a different gear on, and I've done it to myself. So, and I have WrestleMania coming up, and now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to make gear that lives up to like WrestleMania.
Talk about a young woman living in the moment. There's no doubt a career-defining win for Bianca Belair.
What does WrestleMania mean to you personally?
I knew that winning the women's royal match meant that I was going to get a title opportunity at WrestleMania. But when I won the match, I had this feeling of, wow, you're the last woman standing. You just won the women's Royal Rumble match. And then I looked to the left and I saw the WrestleMania sign. And I immediately just started shaking in the ring. And it's just, that's the main goal, to be on the grandest stage of them all. I get to go be there. I could possibly be walking out as a champion. I have no idea what it's going to feel like to be in that moment. I just can't wait to be in that moment and like live in that moment, because that's going to be something I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life.